Hello there. I'm Ulysses S. Grant. I'm out here outside of Vicksburg today in Mississippi. We just took Vicksburg a couple days ago. I'm out here just waiting for our next orders. Out here in the woods, just kind of reminiscing, thinking about what's to come next. And so I'm just gonna do this video diary here and talk a little bit about what has happened to this point. Give you a little bit of background on me. So I was born in 1822 in Point Pleasant, Ohio. I'm the son of Jesse Grant and Hannah Simpson. Uh, my father is a tanner, and we started in Georgetown, Ohio, and it's where I was raised, and I worked on our farm there and worked with the horses. Not a real big fan of my dad's tanning business, so I kind of stayed away from that and just stayed at home, worked with our horses and on the farm. At 17, my dad got me into West Point. I didn't really want to go there. I would rather went to a university somewhere, but I enrolled at West Point because I knew there was nothing else, no other real options for me. Um, so I enrolled as my given name is actually Hiram Ulysses Grant, but I tried to enroll at West Point as Ulysses Hiram Grant, but somehow it got messed up and they wrote Ulysses S. Grant as my name. So a government document, they could really anything I could do about it, so I just accepted it and went with it. Nothing I can do about it. So that's how I got my name, Ulysses S. Grant. Went through West Point, graduated in the middle of my class. Um, the thing I stood out when was mathematics and also my horsemanship. Math was just something I really enjoyed doing, and I was able to really excel in that area. And I hope to one day maybe be the math teacher there back at West Point. But we'll see what happens. We got to get this war over with first. So um, after I got to West Point, they sent me to St. Louis. Important about this is where I met my wife, Julia Dent. She's the roommate of my or sister of my roommate from West Point, and so that's how I met her. And we got married there in St. Louis. Um, so after that, we began the Mexican War. I fought under General Zachary Taylor in this war. Not a war I wanted to be a part of, but I had to fight for what I was told to fight for. And I thought it was a very unjust war. I never thought there was a more wicked war, but I didn't have enough moral courage to resign. But I fought with courage, fight like I always would fight, and we won the war. But it really just wasn't great. It's not something I want to be a part of. Um, so eventually, I was sent to Washington after that war, and at this time I had to leave my family behind, my two sons and my wife, and was sent to Washington out on the West Coast. And really tough time for me. I was very lonely. Spent 2 years out there before I finally decided to resign and come back home. I just couldn't take it anymore. So I went back to Missouri and began working the 80 acres my wife was given by her dad. Began farming it, and then uh, that didn't last too long before I started a real estate partnership, and both of these things failed. And so I had nothing else to do but to go back home to my family and begin working with my father back in the tanning business. And they had moved to Galena, Illinois, up in northern Illinois, and started working with him again. And this all happened right before the war broke out. So I worked for just a little while with my dad, and then the war broke out, and I decided to do something about it. I took the action and started to equip and train um, some volunteers in Galena. Um, we I took them in after we'd been trained for a while. We took them into Springfield, Illinois, the capital in Illinois, and I was given the position of colonel over them, and we started the 21st Illinois Volunteers. But before I ever went to combat with this group, I was actually promoted with the help of Congressman Washburn from Galena, and he gave me command of the District of Southeast Missouri that was headquartered in Cairo, Illinois, which is in southern Illinois. And this unit that I was given control of didn't get utilized very well at first. We uh, we were used as a defensive um, unit, and I really didn't like that. I complained quite a bit about it. And finally, we were sent on the offensive on February 16th at Fort Donelson. We surrounded them at Fort Donelson, which is near Dover, Tennessee. They're in north central Tennessee. Um, Surrounded the Confederates and fought them back. They actually had a chance to escape. They were able to make a hole in our defenses, but they had a miscommunication. They all retreated back to the entrenchments we had encircled, and we were able to then take them over and won that battle. This was the first major victory for our Union forces, and they asked for their terms of surrender, and I said there are no terms except an unconditional and immediate surrender, and they obviously abided by this. But this is where I got my nickname, Unconditional Surrender Grant. Didn't really think much of it when I said it, but now I really kind of like it. Call me Unconditional Surrender Grant, which coincides with my initials that were given to me by the government, with U.S. Grant. So that's how I got my nickname there in Dover, Tennessee. Um, so then finally, the next major battle that we fought was there at Shiloh. In Shiloh, we were waiting for General Buell from the north. He had his Army of the Ohio, and we were going to join together and take the Mississippi and Charleston Railroad, which was their best all-weather supply from eastern coastal cities to the Mississippi Valley for the South. And but down in Corinth, Mississippi, General Beauregard had his men gathered together, and he had 40,000 men, and he surprise attacked us. He's within a couple miles of us before we ever even knew that they were coming, and this was on April 6th, 1862. We finally spotted them, uh, and we had to scramble to get people ready to fight. So they obviously had the early advantage, but our men fought with amazing resiliency that day, the first day, and the biggest help for us was the Hornet's Nest, a spot we held in the peach orchard, and they were unable to take this position from us, and we were able to hold it and held off till the next night. And the next day, General Buell finally arrived, finally showed up, and so then we had the reinforcements, and were able to take the battle the next day with a great counterattack that we were able to overwhelm them just with our new, fresh troops. But this battle really was costly. We lost a lot of men. There was over 20,000 men dead that day, and this hurt my reputation because of the heavy casualties. But after that, we know that this war is still going to go on for quite some time, and it's not near the end yet. And so finally, we get to Vicksburg here, here on the Mississippi. Vicksburg is a very strategic position that we finally have taken control of. The South has held it for a long time now. Tried many times to overtake them here in Vicksburg and just been unsuccessful each time. So this time I split us into four divisions, put men in control of each division, and I also had Admiral David Porter on the Mississippi. He was able to have the ships there, and he was on the west side, or there on the river, and we went down the south and surrounded them. We took Jackson first, Jackson, Mississippi, the capital, and then went and surrounded Vicksburg. We tried a couple times to just overtake the city with an assault, but this failed both times. We weren't able to take the ground because they had the high ground there in Vicksburg. So I decided to just begin a regular siege. And when we did this, it took them 45 days to finally to give up their siege. They tried many times to break our defenses, but they were unable to. So thankfully, we were able to hold our ground here. And just July 3rd, a few days ago, they raised their flag. We went in July 4th on Independence Day. We went in. We were able to remove them from the city and took control of Vicksburg finally. It was a very, very hard fought victory in this war, and very important one. We were able to now control all of the Mississippi River for the Union. The South has now been cut in half. The western sections are cut off from the eastern sections, and we were able to run. The Union is able to run the Mississippi River however it would feel necessary, and we're very, very happy about this. It's been a very difficult war this time. We're hoping that it ends sooner and that we were able to get the victory here and help get the South to surrender. But just now, I'm just waiting for more orders on our next move here in Vicksburg, and so I hope that they come soon. Not sure where we're gonna head next, but I'm just ready for this war to be over to get back home to my family. But something I really hope finishes soon. So I hope you learn a little more about myself. It's been great to just come back out here in the woods and reflect on the past and some things that have happened in this war. So just enjoy yourself.